All right, 8.4 part 1, we're moving into angles and their relationships. So I can solve and identify angle relationships. Sorry about that. So we have 3 types of angles. We have vertical angles. These are a pair of opposite congruent angles formed by intersecting lines. So if we had these, it would be like A, oh, now it doesn't want to write. A and A, those would be vertical angles because they're a pair, they're opposite of each other, and they're congruent. And I'll explain what congruent here is in a second. Adjacent angles have a common vertex and a common side. So if, again, maybe I go like this, they're testing the intercoms, it would be like A with B, okay? A with B, because they share this side right here and this vertex right here. And we'll get into that a little bit more, and that drawing is horrible. So congruent angles are angles that have the same measure. So if one of the angles is 90, then the other angle that's congruent to it is also 90. All right, so we're going to list all pairs of adjacent angles. Remember, adjacent angles have a common side and a common vertex. A vertex is that corner. This is what I get for making my video at school. So all pairs, okay? So let's just start with this one right here, okay? So this is what we would call angle A. This is not helpful when I have to write.
Oh, good morning, fully staffed. You all get the
Okay.
announcement at 7. It's now beeping again.
Angle A, I'm just going to talk over this.
For the disruption, as soon as they get here,
F. And
I am so sorry. And again,
B.
Thank you for your tolerance.
You really need my pen to work. I might type, might be faster. Okay. So let's just delete this. So angle AFB, okay. And we need an angle that shares its side and its vertex. So if we're doing angle AFB, this is one of its sides and this is its vertex. So we can actually do angle BFC. We always label our angles with 3 letters and in the order we want them to go in, right? So we want you to follow BFC because I'm talking about this angle right in here, okay? So we then can do angle BFC and angle, well, CFD. That shares its side and its vertex. CFD. Okay, I'm going to do one more. I know there's more. You're going to do the rest after this. So angle CFD, and we just keep going around the circle, DFE, right? Because it's sharing its common side. See how they share that side and this vertex F. So angle TFE. Okay, so I'll give you a hint. You should have 2 more to write, and then we'll check them when we get back. So then vertical angles are angles that are across from each other, but they're going to be congruent. So we have to be careful with this because we can't just have them be across from each other. They have to be equal. So like this angle is 90 degrees, but we can clearly tell that this angle is not. So these are not vertical angles, okay? This angle here doesn't even have anything crossing from it, right? If I go straight across, there's nothing here, right? It's in this space. So that one doesn't have a vertical angle. But if I look right here, if I take this line and this line, you can see that X is right across from this angle, perfectly, and they're going to actually be congruent. So those two angles are then our first angle we had, right? AB, AFB, and angle DFE. So those are our two congruent vertical angles. We don't have any other vertical angles because those are only the two that actually are across from each other. They're going to be equal. All right, so list all adjacent angles. This might probably be a good place to pause and see if you could list them before I did them, and then we'll see how it goes. All right, so we've got angle EGF and FGA. Oh, I forgot my little angle symbol. And then we have angle, oh, FGA. I didn't do a good job typing there. There we go. FGA and AGB. All right. Angle AGB and angle BGC. Angle BGC and CGD. Hopefully you're getting an idea that you just go round and round the circle. Angle CGD and angle DGE. And then we have one more, trying to fit it in here. Angle DGE and angle EGF, back where we started. Okay, so this should be all of them. I'm gonna put this up here. Check that you have the same ones. So for our vertical angles, again, pretty good place to pause if you haven't. So pause, see if you can find these vertical angles. So for our first one, it's gonna be EGF and BGC. Those will be vertical. They're across from each other in my intersecting lines, and they will be congruent. So another set is angle AGB and angle DGE. See how they're perfectly across from each other and will be congruent. And actually my last set for this one is CGD and FGA. So we actually have 3 perfect ones because these all perfectly cross from each other. Okay, so once we kind of decide that those are congruent and equal, we then can use those relationships to solve for things. So in this case, these are what we call vertical angles. I'm gonna have to try to draw again. And that's because they're opposite of each other. And that means these two things are equal, right? 4x has to be equal to 120 because vertical angles are congruent. So we're gonna go 4x. I really need this to write. What is going on with this today? It erases but doesn't write. Oh, crap. All right. 4x equals 120. So the first thing we're going to do is then divide by 4, right, to both sides. And then we will get that x equals 30. And there we go, we solved. That's all we do. So then down below, it says solve for the following angles. They want specifically B, G, C, A, G, F, and D, G, E. Okay. Well, BGC is equal to this angle. Well, that's going to be kind of hard because it just says 2x. That's not going to help. So let's jump down to AGF. If we look, AGF is actually congruent and vertical to CGD right here. So we can actually just say that this equals 50 degrees. And there we go. And then the last one, DGE, DGE is right here and it is vertical to BGA. So we will just say that one's equal to 30 degrees. And so the last one is the tricky one. We have to find some relationship. So if this is 50, I'm try to squeeze that in there. There we go. And this one is 30. Well, we know we have this, what's called a straight angle right here. See this one right here, how it's perfectly straight? A straight angle equals 180 degrees. That's what this is right here, straight angle. And so we can then say, well, if this is 180, all of these added together will be 180. So we would have 30 plus 50 plus our angle BGC, and we're going to have that equal 180. Well, 50 plus 30 is 80, so then BCG equals 180. We will subtract 80 from both sides. And we will get the angle BCG equals 100 degrees. So we can then fill that in here. And there you go. We'll work on this more in class. Okay, so things to remember. Congruent means equal. Okay. All right, so let's see if you can solve this independent practice. Thank you for being patient, understanding of my pen that didn't want to work, and I will see you next time.